Hi there, I'm Claire Feldman of Eatology and welcome to video 3 in this mini-series of steps to overcome binge eating. So in video 1 I introduced you to the idea of journaling, and in video 2 I talked about the importance of keeping blood sugar stable and ensuring that you were eating regular meals in order to reduce binges. In this video I'm going to talk a little bit about addressing your problems. So, as I've explained before, there are really two big drivers of binge eating. One is being overly restrictive in your eating. So if you are not consuming enough food, enough calories during the day, your body will look to make up for that deficit in any way, which is why often binges will occur in the evening, because the body hasn't received the fuel and the energy that it's needed throughout the day. And so when eating starts in the evening, kind of like the floodgates are open and your body's just trying to make up for that deficit. So that is one aspect. The other aspect that I'm going to talk a little bit more about in this video is emotions, because emotions will often drive us to overeating. Now, at times, emotional eating is totally normal. So for example, if it's a celebration or we're at a party, at a restaurant, we're enjoying a meal that maybe is really tasty and we eat beyond the point of fullness. That emotional eating at times actually can be quite helpful. It serves a purpose. Maybe you feel really down and feel a bit rubbish one day and you crave something sweet and you want something comforting to eat, and it does temporarily lift your mood and it helps you to feel better. That's okay. It's just when eating is the only coping mechanism that you have to deal with your emotions, that's when it becomes maybe a bigger issue that you might want to address. So, when I'm working with clients, one of the great things about doing the journaling work is it really does help to highlight what emotions and what things might be going on in the background that are triggering and then driving the binge behaviour. Now, I work predominantly with females, and a common theme will be stress and overwhelm. And feelings of stress and overwhelm, there can be certain traits of clients that will have these difficulties. Quite often they are maybe people pleasers. They may be continually putting other people's needs before their own. They're saying yes when they really mean no. And they're running around overworking and overstressed and trying to be everything to everyone, and not pleasing themselves. And so in response, when they're feeling triggered, when they're feeling overwhelmed, when they're feeling these kind of unpleasant emotions, eating becomes an outlet for that and a way to soothe how they're feeling. Now, it's not always just stress and overwhelm that will lead to binging. It can be a whole host of emotions, but just for the purpose of this video, I'm focusing on stress. So what I would try to do is really look if you can recognise that maybe feelings of stress, overwhelm or anxiety are big triggers for you, and that you use food to soothe and to numb out from those feelings. Maybe take a step back and look at what might be going on that is driving those feelings and that stress, and is there something that I can actually change or do something about? So the kind of things I mean is there an opportunity for you to create greater boundaries for yourself around some of these issues? Are there activities and things that you're engaged in that you don't need to be, that you can let go of? Are there things that you need to start saying no to that you keep saying yes to? And a big one may well be your thoughts. In fact, it's a really big one. What's going on inside your head that might be creating these feelings of stress? Because stress is something that is very much personal to you and your perception of things. So we can have two individuals that are experiencing the exact same thing on a day-to-day basis. Maybe their lives are pretty much mirror image. Maybe they're doing exactly the same jobs. Everything is exactly the same. But how one person feels about it and how another person feels about it could be totally different based on what our own personal thoughts and our own interpretations are of it. And perhaps if you are feeling stressed and you're feeling really overwhelmed, that some of that inner talk might be coming from your own inner critic and your own maybe high expectations that you have of yourself. So if you're maybe constantly kind of giving yourself a hard time, telling yourself that you're not good enough, you're not doing enough, you're not worthy enough, or that you're failing, if any of that dialogue is familiar to you, that perhaps some of your emotions of stress or overwhelm or anxiety might be coming from your own little inner critic. And that is something that you might want to get some help or get some support with, is how do you reframe and change the narrative that goes on in your head in order to change your emotional state. So just to recap, from your journaling, notice where are there emotional triggers that are going on that are leading you to binge. What are the emotions that you're having? What's driving them? Are there any practical steps that you can take to reduce or remove unnecessary emotions, stress, or triggers from your day-to-day life? And then the final thing is having alternative coping mechanisms available to you at times when you've maybe done all of the other stuff that I've recommended and it's still not cutting it and the urge to binge is still there. Is there do you have like a little toolkit or a little plan of alternative strategies that you could use? So that might be things like going for a walk, or running a bath, or putting on your favourite music and dancing around the room. Anything that might help you to feel good in that moment or soothe you in that moment when you have the urge to binge. And what I would say is, even at times when you have done all the right things, you've been journaling, you've increased your eating and you're eating more regularly, you've removed maybe stressors in your life, you're working on trying to be more positive and more compassionate towards yourself, there still may be times when none of that makes a difference and the urge to binge is still there and it's still overwhelming. And that's okay, because if you're on a journey to try and recover from something, it's always going to be like this. It's never a straight line. So if you have tried all of these strategies and the urge to binge is still there, then give yourself permission to binge without beating yourself up about it, without torturing yourself about it, and then you go back to working on your recovery after that. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Thank you.